All right, I'm live with Assimilate Google Cloud. Last time, one of the things that I did was use Cloud Run, which is pretty awesome, actually. One of the better services actually on Google Cloud. But I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to pull down um, another service that I really like, which is Functions. And here we go, Cloud Functions. Pretty slick about Cloud Functions is that you can really build out stuff very, very simply using Cloud Functions. Look, we see here there's a new version of Function as a Service with an advanced feature set with all kinds of really cool, wow, 90 event sources. Holy smokes. Well, let's do Gen 2, and we're going to try to build maybe like a change machine first. No, not change machine. Let's do Marco Polo. Marco Polo, uh, and we'll put no December 6th. So no undo, and we're going to say unauthenticated, and we're going to say next. And this is one of the really cool things about Google Cloud Functions. Check this out. We can do .NET 6. We can do Go. We can do PHP, Python. So let's pick Python 3.10. And I hate to be a broken record about this, but where's Conda, right? I don't see Conda. There's no Conda inside of Cloud Functions. We have a requirements file, right? Because it's dirt simple to use requirements file. So if we go through here, we could edit inline, or we could go to a zip upload, or we could go to cloud storage. We're going to go ahead and do an inline editor right here. Now, if I did need to install packages, what's really slick about this is I could actually put some stuff inside of here. So I'm going to just build several Cloud Functions and invoke them. But let's just get Hello World working first. And so the entry point will be this. We have our main function, and we can see here what it does. So let's tweak this a little bit here. And if request name hello. So basically we have a hello world function here that we could play around with, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit because I want to pass in I want to pass this in. I want to say basically if the name is in request body, well, actually, let's leave the else there. Else, we'll do no, and we'll return back, that. So we'll basically say else return no, and let's look at this. Hello. So we say that if it has name in there, that's the name, and then we say, and then if name is equal to Marco, then return back hello. Otherwise, what we do is we just return back. In fact, we don't even need an else. We just basically say period, that if you do anything that I don't like, just no. Okay, so there we go. Let's go to this. Here we go. We got this thing going. And we can go right into this thing and do a deploy. And then if you want to test it, this is what's really cool about Google Cloud Functions is that it makes it trivial to test. Testing is still in development by doing a payload. Okay. Oh, so let's wait for this thing to deploy. It is interesting that this is actually, whoa. So we screwed up something. I think because view logs. What does it say? Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It says that error. Why is there an error? Oh, unindent. Of course. This is one of the problems with editing inside of an environment like this is that it's so simple to make mistakes. So what we can do is create a new code space. I'd have to delete some of my code spaces real quick. Let's delete an old one. Let's go back here. Let's create a new one. Whoops, nope. Let's delete that. Let's say new with options. Let's do that. So what I can do is I can just get the code formatted in this environment. Should launch pretty quick. But yeah, it is nice actually that the debugging was pretty clear. Now this is weird, this functions framework that you put a decorator on top like that. And I guess you just you take the payload from the request and then you just parse it. But hopefully this launches super quick here, which I think it should. And then I'll just use this to test out my code and just do like debugging and that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess I could try to see where the bug was. It would be, oh, that's, why will it not? Oh, edit and redeploy. Here we go. This function has failed. So next, we want to fix this. So I think the issue is that, there we go. It had some kind of weird spacing issue. In fact, this it's just weird. The editing in here is just awful. Here we go. That looks better. If there, and then finally, just return no. I think this should be valid code, and so I'll try to go back to this environment real quick and see if this will work. Hopefully this opens up in a second. And it's taking so long, I'm just going to try it one more time. Let's do a deploy. It is interesting that this is the cloud function is a function as a service powered by Cloud Run, which means that it's using a container, which is definitely makes quite a bit of sense. Um, if I go to testing, it says that show more. Yeah, so it did show us that there was an indentation problem before. I don't know if it's got the same problem again. Oh, I think it does. So there's some. I guess that's one real downside is how tricky it is to get your code working inside of an environment like this. It's really a darkness. So let's just make one real quick. Actually, I'm curious if I go here, does it have GCP? Some kind of, I'm sure there's some kind of Google Cloud. Oh, what does this do? This is Google Cloud Kubernetes. Oh, there we go. Google Cloud. Let's try that. I don't like that it has 3 stars, but so, what can I do? So I guess it does have some things you can build in here, which is kind of cool, but I don't really care about that for now. I just want to func UI. Just want to clean this thing up. So that's the problem. Look at that. Fortunately, I could fix it. Look at that. Can do this. This is annoying. How it formatted this code. It's almost like we need to fix tabs and spaces or something. So if we go to edit, I don't know how you do that in this particular editor. And then just recreate everything. So let's just do this. Look at that. Everything is off by just a little bit. At least that's better. I think that this would work, but at least the formatting is better. Now, I got to probably import that from Google or something, but let's paste that in. Is that right? Deploy. Okay, so I was going to try to deploy again. Now I'm curious, while this is deploying, if there's some documentation that tells us how to install this. Monitoring, viewing, and writing. Configure, troubleshooting. So let's take a look at some of these things you can do. The SDK. I don't know how you install this locally. Let's see here. Cloud functions. We can go to Quick Start. We can deploy it. Local development. That's what I was curious. Running functions framework. That's what I was looking for. So there we go. I just need to install that. So let me go to my requirements. I'm going to do make install here. And then we can do pip freeze rep functions framework. And we just do that. There we go. And now that I've got that, if we go back here and we say make refactor, at least imports that, which is pretty cool. And look, it did find that I don't even need this request args. So we can get rid of that. So pretty cool. So I can run this locally. And that's helpful. Nice. And if we go back here, aha, we're able to deploy this. And I'm going to go to testing. And we can pass in name. This should just do essentially nothing. So configure this, a post request. That's all we care about. Now, where's the go button? What is this? Oh, so what does it do? It puts it in there. Test in Cloud Shell. Oh, so it just puts it locally in your Cloud Shell, which is kind of goofy, but okay. Sure. So this is going to no, right? So it did work, right? Because if we look at the source again, here we see that any failed request will return no. So we can change this name to, I think it's looking for Marco uppercase. Marco uppercase. Look, it changed that. Oh, interesting. And then we can do test in Cloud Shell. We invoke it. Polo. There we go. Pretty cool. So yeah, we were able to get that working. And it's obviously, if I wanted to, I can invoke it from the outside world. So let's build a slightly more tricky application here. So I'm actually curious how this thing works. So if I just said Python func here, what happens? How do we run this locally? So we see this. Oh, so Python. Boy, these docs are weird looking. So configuring the frameworks, import functions. So how do I test it locally though? So if I go to command line arguments, use the following to run your function. Oh, pretty interesting. So we do that equals your function name with your function's method name. Okay. So our function's method name would be that. Oh. Does it need to be called main.py? What does it need to be called? Okay, so it uses this framework. Let's look at the documentation. Definitely is pretty interesting. I like this functions framework. Install it. Create a main. So it does want you to create a main. Do I have to use the word main? Can I okay, so what we can do then is I can say make dir GCP function. I can mv func into GCP function. Now, what I also can do is I can do GCP function. Let's rename this here, GCP function. And let's do that GCP function. There we go. And then we can say GCP functions. And now we can say make factor. This should work. GCP functions. Wait, invalid path. That would be Python black. GCP function. Actually, how about GCP func? Even shorter. So we can actually run this thing locally. This is pretty cool, actually. I'm kind of getting excited about this. There we go. Factor, boom. It's working well. And then if I cd into there, cd into GCP func, now I can do what they tell me to do here, which is we can do this GCP target, and we look at this file here, hello HTTP. Oh, because I need to move it. MV func to main WY. There we go. Let's do this. We got this thing cooking. There we go. Wow. So we can fully test this thing locally. So I'm going to write down the docs for this here. We can smoke all this stuff. We don't need any of this. So this is a template for GCP. And say go to GCP func directory. Perfect. And you just run that. Okay, so now that I've got a way to debug this thing, what we can do is go back to Cloud Functions and make something a little bit more tricky. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function that is, again, second generation, and we're going to call this wiki keywords. So wiki keywords. Let's do that. And we're going to use Python 3.10. And now we're going to build something really, really cool. And so we don't want any of this stuff. We want to use our other base function here. So we also want to make like a requirements file. Well, I think I'll just do it in here. So we want to do yake, and then we also want to do Wikipedia. There we go. Let's say make install. Go up directory. Perfect. And now, if we say pip freeze rep yake rep Wikipedia, here we go. And perfect. All right, so all of that stuff cooking. And now we can very easily build out some really cool stuff. So we're going to say import yake. We're going to say import import Wikipedia. Wikipedia. And what we can do is we can say build. So build a function that returns content from a Wikipedia page. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Kind of sloppy, but, and then there we go. Build the wiki search terms. Exactly what I would like. And so now what we do is instead of the name here, we put in wiki page, and we do wiki page. And what we do here, if we say that, turn wiki page, and we say keywords, if keywords, turn keywords. All right, let's try it out. This looks pretty good. Let's go back to this. Let's throw it in there. So the requirements file here. Let's grab these two pinned things. Entry point, sure. Deploy, let's try it out. Let's try it out. So this will be exciting because this is a lot more cool of a function, but it's really pretty awesome actually. That I love what Google Cloud is doing with Google Cloud Functions. Really, they're doing some good things here. I think they're really building things in a way that's pretty slick. And if we go to testing, we should be able to put in wiki page, and we can say, oh, that's a good question. While this is deploying, why don't I just test this thing out, right? So I can go back into GCP functions. And I can say, hello HTTP. Locally. But I really want to do a local curl, right? Because if it's a curl localhost 8080 Wikipedia page name. What we want to do is we want to copy this test command here, which would be Barack Obama, something like that. Yeah. So it would look something like that. So we can even test this out here. So we can say touch test.sh. Yeah, this is really slick stuff here. Actually, mv test. Oh no, we can do that here. We can test this out. Let's just tweak it a little bit. So it would be this would be localhost 8080 host 80. Don't need that. Let's try that. Bash test. Now. I'm gonna have to test this out. So let's exit this. First, let's test this. Does anything work? Test in Cloud Shell. Barack Obama. Not sure what it's doing actually. Whoa, it did. It worked. Okay, so I did get this working. So I'm gonna call it a victory, and not bad. I'm really liking how slick this was, and so I can just screenshot or whatever and put this in somewhere. But pretty cool stuff. I'll be back in a couple weeks to continue mastering Google Cloud.